Here's a quick overview of what you'll be doing in this Synchronized Identity lab. To start off, you'll install and set up Azure Active Directory Connect. It's also known as AAD Connect. Next, you'll configure AAD Connect filtering. Before you wrap up, you'll spend some time managing the directory synchronization process. But before you get going, you'll need to configure the lab environment. You do that by typing setup-azure at the Azure PowerShell prompt. And don't forget, you have to open Azure PowerShell as administrator. Next, you'll type 3, which kicks off the configuration for this lab. Then, when the Azure region prompt appears, type the number that represents the region where you'll deploy the Azure virtual machines. At this point, you get to sit back and let the script run. This might take up to 40 minutes, so you could use this time to review other course material or to just take a break. Why so long? Because there's a lot of Azure configuration and provisioning going on in the background. And that requires deploying an Azure virtual machine that we've called ADATM DC1. That VM is hosting an Active Directory domain controller in a domain forest called adatom.com. Let's get back to the tasks. First, you'll create a new Azure AD instance named ADATM Sync. Then, in the new Azure Active Directory, you'll create a user and assign it the global admin role. You'll leave the Azure Management Portal and sign in as that new user. After that, you make a remote desktop connection to the ADATM DC1 VM. There, you'll run the Azure AD Connect tool on ADATM DC1. This installs the connector. Okay, now you've done 3 things. Created a new Azure Active Directory instance, created an Azure AD user with the global admin role, and installed AAD Connect on your ADATM DC1 Azure virtual machine. Wondering what's next? Here you go. You'll configure Azure Active Directory Connect filtering. Then, using the Synchronization Service Manager, you'll select the Accounts Organization Unit, or Accounts OU, as the container for directory sync. After that, you'll configure attribute-based filtering of AAD Connect. And you'll use the Synchronization Rules Editor to create a new rule for filtering. Next, you'll configure a user account and call it Beverly Beach. You'll exclude that account from the synchronization process. Yes, that's exclude, not include. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. At this point, filtering is configured, and you're ready to initiate the sync process. You'll use the Azure AD Sync Scheduler to do this. And no worries. All you do is pick a time for it to run. Then, you can kick off the sync. After that's done, you'll open the Azure Management Portal and verify that all user accounts have been synchronized except for one. Yes, all but Beverly Beach, the one that was excluded. That one doesn't come over. Okay, now you'll configure the Beverly Beach account to be included in the process. You'll run a Delta directory synchronization so that Beverly Beach is included in the sync. After that completes, you'll open the Azure Management Portal and verify that the Beverly Beach account got included in the process. Phew! The lab's complete. You're all done. Now it's time to reset the Azure environment by running the reset-azure script from the Azure PowerShell console. That'll remove the Azure resources provisioned for this lab and set you up to provision new Azure resources for your next EMS lab. This wraps up our quick summary of the Synchronized Identity Lab. So go ahead and get started working in the lab.